allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'm just saying on the agenda.
Approval minutes.
We have regular minutes from January 22nd, 2013, and closed session as to content only January 22nd, 2013.
Questions or comments?
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bassford?
Abstain.
Mr. Cola?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. McAwee?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. Mr. Purdy?
Yes. Real quick, we have Mayor Phil Gunther, honored to have here in Galloway Township. So I'd like to bring him up as Fire Chief. Thank you. Mayor Phil is a good neighbor here in Galloway Township. He's the mayor of Brigantine. He's also born here in Galloway Township. He's a resident of Galloway Township. His family has long, deep roots in Galloway Township. And I'd like to turn it over to Mayor Phil.
Thank you, Mayor Purdy. And I'm here tonight to say thank you to Mayor Purdy, to the Galloway Council, and the people of Galloway. And I'm joined by our Fire Chief, Jim Paul. We, as you know, were impacted by Superstorm Sandy, and during that storm, our fire department suffered the loss of two fire engines responding to a house fire, and they were actually flooded and unable to be used. The next day, I got a call from Mayor Purdy, who asked me, said, "Is there anything you need?" And I said, not thinking that he would be able to do this, I said, "What we actually need is a fire engine." He said, "No problem." He said, we'll make it happen. And what he was able to do is, working with his fire department, they were able to loan us a fire engine that is still in our firehouse. We were working through the process of purchasing a new fire engine to replace the two that were lost. But at that time, we were vulnerable, and we turned to our neighbor, and you responded. And I know Chief Hall, having that piece in the firehouse is a great comfort to him and a great comfort to the people of Brigantine. So I'm here to say thank you, Mayor, as a token of our appreciation, and certainly recognizing the effort because he called and asked if Brigantine needed anything, and knew that we were at a time of great need. This plaque reads in grateful appreciation to the Galloway Township and the Galloway Township Fire Department for the citizens of Brigantine and the Brigantine Fire Department. Thank you for your unselfish support in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy, the use of engine 26-63 in our time of need assured the safety and security of our community. So here on behalf of the citizens of Brigantine to thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
You know, Mayor Phil, this goes a long way. I remember when I first went to my first mayor's meeting, deputy mayor at that time, and of course I was scared, but we got all these guys that, from Raritan County that were members of the Raritan County Mayor's Association. And Mayor Phil was one of them guys that, as I said, he's got long roots here in Galloway Township, and to find out what really drives these mayors was very strongly. It's nice to say, you went to mayor's meeting, it's great to find out what other communities have priorities like we do. It's all around budgets and similar stuff like that. But, Mayor Phil grabbed on me right away, and that means something to me, because Mayor Phil is one of the longest standing mayors, along with Mayor Diverson and other mayors in the township, the county. And to me, a helping hand, when you're really going into this line. I'm a normal guy, got a job as kids, you go into where you're leading your community, and to have a handout to reach there to help is basically priceless. So on behalf of myself and Galloway Council, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me over the years to help Galloway Council move forward.
Thank you, John. We appreciate it. We promise to give it back. We did give you one in the wrong color, so we can't keep it.
And I want to also thank the township manager because before I did let a helping hand out, I called the township manager up and I said, and you know, it was an opera hour. I said, you know, Marge, watching you driving down to Barrier Island, I did hear that the loss of fire trucks. And, you know, I think we even sent our public works department down there to help them a little bit. Yeah, Longport too. I called Mayor Russo from Longport. I also called the mayor from the mayor from Margate. And basically threw out a helping hand. Galloway Council is very fortunate that we did not have the dedicated like the islands did. And it was so nice. Township manager at that time got one with the fire chief. And it was instant. Our fire department and Galloway Council come together and said, absolutely, we're going to help them. And I believe within a day and a half, they delivered the fire department. So I thank our fire department. We have a volunteer fire department here in Galloway Council. And I always say, I'm saying again to make the second to none, and not just the Galloway Council, but also neighboring communities. And I just can't say enough about it.
Mayor, they always have to. In my long career, we've had some great fires and great communities. 400 West Brigantine actors. Right there. And, you know, mutually, the career volunteer doesn't matter.
Yes.
Two communities have always been serving each other. So, you know, I can't say no. As a new chief, it was great to turn around the next day and then you guys work. Because I'm like, now we're like,
yes. You don't get that furniture enterprise or red fire truck.
and they are, I met the strong executive chief meeting and he said, do whatever you need. Keep it as long as you like, so we're going to take you up on that, folks.
Yes.
In the process. Well, we're looking at the process. You know, council requested me, our council requested me last week. I thought we could really fight on. I thought we could finish. No. It takes a long time. So, you know,
that's hard. Whatever makes your community safe and place, we're here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You can come see us in the summer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Nice. Thanks, Phil. Good seeing you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. This is the good stuff that I love reporting on. It's great, isn't it? Council committee reports. Anybody wants to report on any of the committees that they're involved in at this time?
As you know, Mr. Mayor, we, the Invocation Committee, last meeting tabled the resolution for, we had a couple issues which is the way it was laid out, and we wanted to reflect more the intentions of the committee. Our township solicitor did have a chance to look at that and make some revisions. However, the committee did not have a chance to reconvene. In the meantime, a few of us were out of town. So we don't have it on the agenda tonight, but we fully anticipate it being on the agenda for the next meeting.
Great. Great. Thank you very much. Anybody else have anything in any of the committees that they want to report on?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I had a chance to attend my first Veterans Advisory Committee meeting. Spent the evening with Mr. Ike Rucker and Herb Davis, two finer gentlemen you'll never meet. They brought me up to speed on how they prepare for the events that they sponsor, and they're part of Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Veterans Day. And very educational, very pleasant evening. They meet in the historical room. There was some discussion as to whether or not when the Historical Society moves out and into the post office, if they were still going to be available to use that room. And I would check for the deputy mayor. That's not going to be a problem. They will be still in the historical room. I guess we'll rename it.
Well, I think that between the township manager and your committee, I'm sure you guys can make sure we have a place for the veterans to meet. We definitely have a place for the veterans to meet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Everybody good on that? No more committee reports? Hearing none? And the 9, 1862-13.
1862-13, repeal and delete Galloway Township Code, Chapter 51, funds.
Arch?
Certainly, this is an ordinance from the early 80s that basically had to do with self-insurance, and when we were totally self-funding and weren't in a GIF, and looking at this, there really is no need to have this in our code anymore. It's set up by the commission, committee that oversees insurance. At this point, between the GIF and we're in the state health benefit for health insurance, there's really no need for this section. This is all part of our cleaning up for codification.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none?
Motion moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Bassford?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Mr. Tolman? Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Allman? Yes. Mr. Purdy?
Yes. 1863-13.
1863-13, amend section 5-4 of the Galloway Township Code to add an additional paragraph regarding the appointment of the township auditor.
Questions or comments?
I'd like to move it, Mayor. I think it's a good idea.
I have a motion, I have a second. Roll call.
Can I ask who did the second?
Councilman McElwee.
I think I have some concerns about this before we move forward. And I don't want to vote it down because I like the idea of.
Well, I think, Deputy Mayor, I think that since there's a motion and a second on the floor, that you have to would have to call roll call and
You can just at the table.
over the motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if there's a second to do that. I like the idea.
Do I need a motion and a second on top of the motion and second from the first time?
To table. If that's what we have.
I just want to do it right.
Discussion first, and I think.
If we have discussion and we can find common ground, we can move forward, correct?
Well, I want to start 3 years for now. No, it would start.
Then also, basically, next year we have to find a new auditor. Since the auditor in place now has been there for more than 3 years.
Right, you would then have to, once it becomes effective, the next time you have to appoint someone else for at least 1 year.
First time, clarifying language, how you would go forward.
Yeah, I just don't like this. Right, correct. And I think it could not be effective for the prior years. It'll start the 3 years now. You could also do that.
Well, it's introduction, so you their resolution is introduction to it. You can make it whatever you want.
I don't necessarily have a problem with implementing. I like the idea of term limits, actually. I think we need to have some dialogue on this before we move forward. I would be in favor of some type of term limits. I'm not sure where the 3 years came from. That seems kind of arbitrary to me. I know a lot of municipalities do 4 years. I think the auditor is one of those positions where it makes a lot of sense to have some change there and some oversight. However, you also need some continuity in that position because, as we all know, working closely with the budget, the auditor lays out a roadmap for us to follow. And I think previously that roadmap wasn't always followed. It wasn't until recently that we started to adhere to the recommendations of our auditor, and we find ourselves now in a much better financial position moving forward. Most likely eliminating eliminating possibilities of layoffs and furlough days for any employees. We'll find ourselves in a much more solid situation based upon the recommendations of our auditor. So, while I agree with term limits, I think this does need further consideration. I'd like to have some dialogue on this.
The governor's toolkit, what does he recommend? Was it 3 or 4?
I don't recall the.
Yeah, and the county, Denny Livingston had to say 3.
The policy, the decision they taken from the county for 3 years. And the one that really touched on this is the 2008 comptroller's report that came out and looked at auditors in communities, and you had some auditors that had been in communities up to 60 years plus, some 40s. And I would say in my experience in working in 4 different municipalities, and I haven't worked here long enough to experience some of it, but if an auditor is in a location too long, there sometimes feels to be where they don't want to take certain action because they're friendly with the chief financial officer, or they like this guy, or this person's not a bad person. And I think you have to have some form of rotation to bring fresh eyes in to look at your financial situation and to look at your budget situation and your long-term debt situation. And fresh eyes, I think, always help. So it's some term, whatever the council decides, 4 or 5, whatever. But the comptroller was a 10-year recommendation. I think it's too long. And 2 years is obviously too short, and then now it becomes a political decision on how you're going to lay it out.
And I mean, if you want to amend and make changes now's the time, rather than after we have the public hearing and then we have to re-advertise and all this sort of stuff. So if you're looking at rewording or changing, now would be the time to look at that.
Right. If there's consensus, you can also do that tonight. But on the other hand, if you're not clear on how you'd like to change it or want to look at it, then it's not the appropriate answer to go forward then.
One of my issues that I have is I do agree with basically not making somebody too comfortable. I think that the way this budget's set out and laid out right now, I believe the township manager has got a 3 or 4 year plan in place as we speak for getting in place. This is the first time I've said it before in the media, and I'll say it again. This budget was comprised of sincere cuts, planning for the future. It's the first time that I can tell you that I've seen a budget together that does not impact the hopefully future of furloughs or layoffs. I think we're in a lot better place. I think that the township has done a lot of suffering over the past few years, mostly to do with the economy, and it's affected a lot of families. And if we have a plan in place so far that seems to be working, I don't like the fact that I might not be here next year, and some other council people might not be here next year, and we're making a decision on future council people's obligation, who they can and can't pick at the time that the RFP goes out. And also to tell somebody that you can't bid on an RFP when it's an open bid process. The township doesn't even have to bid an order, I think, if I understand it correctly. I think that there's too many what-ifs out there right now, and I believe that if we all come together and come up with an idea that might work for everybody, I think that maybe we can move forward on it. But I just think that, there have been auditors that, as the manager said, that's been in place for 50 plus years. I mean, we've had one in Galloway Council that's 20 plus years before. I think that something that needs to be looked at. I'm only myself, and that's why I hope we were talking about this, and everybody can come up and put their own.
If we would initiate and move an ordinance like this, Michael, could we set it so that it's not retroactive in tenure, and that we move forward from this point forward to 3 or 4 year, whatever we decide the term needs to be, from the date we enact the ordinance, moving forward and not retroactive. So if a person has 3 years and they don't have to get kicked out of their seat, they now have their term to work out.
You could provide that it would be 3 years starting, let's say, this year.
Because it's legal every
2 years would constitute the 3
I
years.
can work with something like that, but just because basically right now you're past this ordinance, you're just saying your auditor's gone. You just fired him right now. You have no time to transition.
Right, there needs to be some continuity there between.
That's why the higher council positions.
I think
Next year.
One of my earliest meetings as a council member here was with our present auditor, and he had a roadmap that we're now following, but I don't know that we were following the roadmap that he was laying out before that. These budgetary issues that he's consulting with us on, they're not handled overnight. that takes a few years to implement, so.
Nobody was reading the map before, was the problem.
One of the things was, I'll tell you, when things were going well, the owners, a lot of the owners would tell you, when you had a captain place, that they would tell you, you need to raise taxes a little bit. They perfectly honest, you need to raise them a little bit, because if you don't, you're just hamstringing yourself down the road. And you know what? A lot of us were so adamant against raising taxes when things were going well. We didn't raise taxes. Nobody knew. And we didn't know what was going to come down the road. Things were going well. We were following along. There's no. I was to blame, I guess. I'm looking back now. I hate raising taxes, and I didn't want to raise them when things were going well. And people say, why are you raising taxes? You don't need to. And we didn't need to. We had budgets in place that were pretty good when the economy was rolling along, but then when the shockwave hit,
and nobody could have predicted it.
And now, right, you couldn't predict it.
Well, so where we at? Well, I think this is a good idea, and I do think it's good. As a compromise, I say we move forward, whoever council wishes to put in there. If it's the same auditor, we can move forward 2 years.
I'd like to actually make a motion to table this, get a committee together to evaluate it, make a presentation, and move from there. I think there's a lot of things in here that need to be looked at. When is it 3 years? Is it 4 years? Is it 2 years? What dates does it start from? Is it retroactive? Is it not retroactive? What positions more? Should it just be auditor? Should it be other positions as well? There's a lot of questions here that need to be looked at.
The public is noted that the auditor is not on payroll. The auditor is not getting health benefits or pension or anything like that. So it is a subcontractor, just like most of the.
And it's been every year.
Right.
As a state-regulated license, supposed to be independent of the township, although hired by the township and paid by the township.
And it's important to point out, and I think everybody's in agreement, this is no reflection on the current auditor's talents or his service.
No, there's no sense
This is good financial practice to rotate an auditor.
I agree. I'm hesitant to do it because I think we have an excellent auditor right now.
Well, I was on the record saying that past councils listening to auditors, we'd be in a better place today. So it's not about Leon, but people, like Art said, you get comfortable in a position, and instead of digging deep, you might not dig as deep.
And I've seen, unfortunately, sometimes auditors, they sort of get used to things, and things that someone else might find as an efficiency or raise an issue, they become accustomed to, and they don't raise it, which is why I think Arch's reference to fresh eyes, take a look at it.
It's always good to have a system of checks and balances when you're dealing with finances, and that's all this is.
But on the other hand, again, I don't want to interject into a policy issue, but you're in the middle of a lot of difficult issues right now, and it may not necessarily, this may be a good policy, but it may not be one that you want to have effective, immediately. So that's something to take a look at. Then you might want to have it kick in.
So, Michael, let's just get this right. I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Mormon. I also have a second on the floor from Councilman McElwee. And I got a motion on the floor from Deputy Mayor. Explain to me, let's do this the right way. I'm very confused. I've never had this happen before. Where's Mayor Dr. at when I need Can I amend?
Sure.
Okay. I'll amend my motion to include a 2-year extension for the present auditor. That way, he can stay next year. We have a race this year, 2 years, we have another race. If council decides to keep him next year, he can stay.
So it would become effective
Just for him, for 2 years. If council next year decides they want a different auditor, that's up to the council next year.
Right.
But the present auditor can serve 2 additional years, and then it'll kick in to a 4-year term, like Tony mentioned.
Well, one additional term, really, maybe 2 years, because we're already here, but he's already been appointed, so you're really only talking one new term.
Well, that would be 14.
2014.
So he could serve out 13 years for 14, and then you would have the election in 14 instead of 15. Whoever that council at the time decides to appoint, they can appoint.
I think I'd be comfortable with a 4-year term for the auditor. And if non-retroactive, I could go with that. because I think it's not, I'm all favor of terminals, and I agree with what we say, a fresh set of eyes. I just don't want to deviate from the plan. We've made so much progress over the last 1 year. And we finally got ourselves out of the woods. Perhaps everybody's forgotten how last year was for us financially. I mean, I sure didn't. It still stings a little bit. So, and I'm sure a lot of the township employees are feeling that sting too. I want to get out of the woods here. I want to leave this township to a better place before we decide to,
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I'd like to...
I'm trying to understand, so the recommendation is, your suggestion would be a 4-year rather than 3-year, and to have it only begin now, calculation of the 4 years.
Yeah.
So for instance, if the current auditor was rehired, he could serve this year, next year, and then 2 more years. A total of 4 years from this point forward.
Well, whenever the ordinance would be enacted, then 4 years from the data that we enact the ordinance.
I think we're playing a lot of stuff on a real short notice here.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit up here and make a decision that we want to, as TC had said too. If you're going to go ahead and do this and do a first reading on it, you want the second reading to follow as planned, and you don't want to be changing things between the first reading and the second reading. I think that this would be something on there that the council is going to agree upon and do this with one shot and do it and pass it.
I'd like to second the motion to table it and send it to committee for discussion.
How about we do, you guys want to make a committee? I'll make a committee for it.
Personally, I think it's Councilman Moore sense. I don't think it's whether we go 2 years or 4 years, I don't think it's rocket science.
Well, you got a lot of paper here. It's not just a matter of 3 words on this.
I don't know if you need a committee. We can talk about it later and table it and talk about it. I don't know if you need a committee to get together, but,
Well, your motion's all over.
There's a motion to table.
We have a motion to table. If the motion to table passes, then the ordinance would be tabled and would wait for you to call it back at the meeting.
I guess you don't want, as the deputy mayor said, you don't want to put something up there and vote it down rather than table.
We didn't form a committee as Councilman Bassford suggested. How would we have dialogue on that without being on the dais? We couldn't do that.
Have a work session.
We're talking to each other right now. Like I said, if you want it to be 4 years, 2 years, how many people agree with you, how many don't? It's simple math. There's 7 of us. If there's 4 agree on one way, let's do it. It doesn't have to be exactly what we have here. If you want it to be a 4-year term, the majority agrees with you, that's fine.
Yeah, but I already have ordinance written up.
Right, and I made a motion to amend it.
So I think you're going to go through it line by line and amend it?
We're just the only thing we're discussing is the times. Is that term of the times? That's the only thing I heard from any council person.
Is anybody else going to weigh in here?
Yeah, it's not, I kind of agree with Councilman, it's not rocket science. There's not a lot of
Make the motion and let's
I don't mind tabling and talking about it, but,
We put a workshop together, Arch and Pat. I don't want to.
when one of the committees are already in place, have them talk about it,
Yeah, we have a work session next meeting about it. Come back with your ideas. We'll be prepared to amend it the way the council decides.
For a first reading.
You want to do that first workshop ahead of the meeting?
Yeah, we'll just put it in the prior ordinances.
Here's just 2 potential issues. One is 3 years, the duration, 3 or 4, whatever, 5 years. And the other is, when do you start? You started retroactive, or you started from a point forward.
And Tony mentioned starting it as of today. If that's the majority of council feels that way, that's fine. I can make a movement here that it's not set in stone. They come back and talk about it again or whatever. It's really not Art sent this to us, a week and a half ago?
I could live with the 4 years and no retro neither. I could pass that if you want to. I could vote on that.
Mike, what's the legal issue?
We New issue, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking you, you're the attorney.
Regarding the order?
I'm not going to do the wrong thing.
The issue of the auditor is...
I'm okay with,
The procedure, put that aside for a minute. The question of the auditor, that's entirely within your discretion to make it whatever number of years. There's no requirement at all. It's your discretion. Is it 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And the other is the issue of the start point. It's the way it's put together, it's retroactive. So in effect, you would have to then hire a new auditor next time. You could start it effective this year so that the current auditor could continue for whatever amount of time you would want it to. There's not in that sense, there's no legal issue involved because you can decide. It's more a matter of policy and judgment as to what is the appropriate relationship with the auditor, and that factors in also. I think everyone agrees. It seems that the idea of having fresh eyes is a good one, and that's I think is a recognized issue now. But the other side of the equation is you have a relationship now with an auditor. You've been going through some difficult issues, and it appears that there's also concern about not changing courses in the middle of the stream. So, but how long? That's a judgment call that you have to make.
Councilman Gorman's already conceded for 4 years. He's also conceded that it doesn't have to be retroactive, so I don't see why we can't.
How's the county's ordinance worded?
It's actually a policy. It's not by ordinance. They just do it as an internal policy.
And what's their tenure there? Do you know?
3 years.
So if the policy is at any given time, they can override the policy?
In theory, they could.
No one is above the policy.
Right, I'm saying they can change it.
Yes, policy.
So you got something written in there that even if they can decide to change the policy. In ordinance, I would turn around and come back in 3 years and say, you know what, I don't like it. Let's just change
The language can be as simple as that any present auditor appointed by them will serve no longer than past December 31st, 2016.
Right.
Thereafter, all auditors will be limited to a 4-year term.
If there's consensus on both of those issues, the start time and the duration, there's nothing magic about 3 years. That's simply the county's, policy. Other towns have none. Some have longer time. The recommendation apparently, as Arch indicated, was 10 years, which I think is too long. So there's no magic number.
2 weeks aren't going to kill us. To a workshop. Everybody go back to your facts, come back unless...
You're not dealing with the auditor.
The auditor's done for the next, 9 months, so it's 9 months. I don't think it's an issue that wait 2 weeks.
I'm comfortable with that. Do a first reading at the next meeting, then come back, workshop, first reading, next meeting. Let's get this thing done.
Pass it. Never.
I would request that council just shoot me their suggestions on this so we can come to consensus and at least have some draft to get to you before the meeting this afternoon and discussion.
A motion to a second.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's do...
You
had a second, didn't you, already?
Okay. All right. Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Cola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
No.
Mr. McElwee?
No.
Mr. Trell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. And Ms. Purdy?
Yes.
Okay, the motion to table carries 5-2. Okay, so that will be moved to the next meeting. And 1862-13 for second reading and public hearing will be scheduled for February 26, 2012 at 6:30.
Thank you. 11. 38-13.
Okay, resolutions. First one is a resolution authorizing the payout of accumulated vacation and sick time for managerial employees who have separated from Galloway Council as of December 31st, 2012, and the former employee is Jill Walter.
Questions or comments?
Move 4813. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bassford?
Yes.
Mr. Kohler?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. McElwee?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes.
Yes, she said yes.
And Ms. Purdy?
Yes.
My ears are getting really old. That's okay.
We are.
4913.
A resolution authorizing the payout of accumulated vacation and sick time for managerial employees who have separated from Galloway Township as of December 31st, 2012, and the former employee is Stephen Young.
Questions or comments?
I'd like to table it.
Do we have any other?
I'd like to vote on it.
You want to vote on it?
Could we talk about it in closed session and come out? I just have one concern about it if we vote on it.
As a matter of potential litigation.
Yeah. Yes. Move that into closed session. Do I have a motion? I have a motion to move into closed session. I have a second.
Or, yeah, I'll
We'll just postpone it to later in the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. I'll put after closed session.
57-13, payment of bills. $8,469,000. I want to say it.
You want to say it?
$9,069.
I haven't read this on the bill list. I need to pull something. I need to get a clarification on 11 dash, page 1, 11-01180, dated 3/18/11, which would amend the bill list to $8,467,995.69.
So we're just pulling that for right now.
Yeah.
Right. We'll talk about it.
A question, Arch, page 19, 13-00287. I assume this is pre-Stockton.
Yes.
Tax appeal for seizure property.
Correct. That is the tax appeal from the prior owner.
Okay.
That we have to pay.
I remember this. That's just coming through now. Okay.
Any questions or comments from the public? Mr. Mitchell.
Bob Mitchell, Parkland Road. Good evening, Mayor. That's the one I was going to get up to 19, but I got a few others here picked out. First one is on page 2. The first page photos.
That is correct.
Page 4, Indian auto insurance, co-insurance obligation.
What page is that?
That name just didn't ring a bell. That's why I'm asking that question.
That is the insurance company, Bruce Jeff.
And that's the insurance carrier through the jail. That's you, Jeff?
Yeah, they're a excess carrier for this jail.
Okay, I didn't recognize the name. Page 8, $30 tractor sale on sub driver, I guess that's Galloway Road.
Yeah.
You built it?
Way to replace teeth in it.
Okay.
We're looking long-term with that attempt to get out of that business. If we can.
Right. Yeah, that's 2,000 plus for builders. That's right.
I mean, this one is sure. Let me explain to the public what we've done. As of January 1, we're no longer contracting our vehicle repair out to a single entity. We found that system actually hit a lot of costs from the town because you paid a flat dollar fee. What we've actually done is hired a fleet manager in-house, and we're using contractors, state contractors, along with local vendors, along with some in-house repairs, so we have kind of a hybrid system. We are projecting a $200,000 savings this year just from the restructuring of that.
Good. Thank you, Mark. Page 10, I'm sure it seems like a lot of batteries. It's probably rechargeable batteries if the area is burn out. Is it charging longer?
Which is it under?
It's practical.
Yeah, that would be all police fire type radios.
Yeah.
That just seems like a lot of figures.
Yeah, they rip you up because they call it police equipment.
And the radios are like $3,800 for one of the radios.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Paying the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Bassford?
Yes.
Mr. Capola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. McElwee?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
I'm going to resign on PO 13. Staying? That's staying. That's not official, right? I'm going to abstain on PO 1300287. I realize it's pre-Stockton, but I think just better safe than sorry. Everything else, yes. Thank you.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. And Ms. Purdy?
Yes. 58-13.
Is a resolution authorizing executive session. It has two issues, but it's going to have three exceptions. The first one is any collective bargaining agreement or the terms and conditions of which are proposed for inclusion in any collective bargaining agreement, including the negotiation of terms and conditions with employees or representatives of employees of the public body, says that labor union negotiation contracts is unknown at this time until there be ratification of union contracts by Township Council. And then the other two fall under number 7, which is any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiation in which the public body is or may become a party, any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duties as a lawyer. And so we were doing attorney-client privilege, and you've asked that Resolution 49-13 also be considered in a closed session, so that makes 2 under number 7. And at this time, it's unknown as to when it will be released, and we don't know the necessary occurrence yet.
Do you have any estimated time you think for closed session?
I actually said 30 minutes. I gave you a lot of time, I thought.
Okay. Do we have any action to be taken? Action may be taken.
Action may be taken? Okay.
Have a motion to go into closed session?
Motion going to closed session. Motion from me. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Bassford?
Yes.
Mr. Capola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. McElwee?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. Ms. Purdy?
Yes. 59-13.
Okay. 59-13, that's a resolution to accept Jody Smith's settlement agreement.
Questions or comments?
Marge,
Yes.
how did this get released to the press before it was presented to us for approval?
I think there were probably multiple reasons. The way the agreement was drafted, there was actually no signature paid for the mayor on the agreement itself, which was somewhat confusing. We had gone through the holiday season. I think we discussed it on the 11th of December, went through the holiday season, and I think we just worked under the assumption that it was an open document because council had approved it in closed session, and we just forgot to do the motion at the next meeting.
So there's no gag order attached to this settlement, so it's really
No,
I
think anything we were overzealous in being transparent in this process.
Okay.
So there's no confidentiality provision in it as a township at all.
That was my concern.
The insurance company had authorized and signed off on it before that. Correct.
Unlike the other situation with the settlement agreement where there were multiple signatories required, and especially the approval of the insurance carrier, here there was no other approval required. So it was a bit of a different situation. Although it wasn't required to be released, I don't think. We could have argued it wasn't. Also, there was no harm in being released either. So transparency, I guess, is a good thing.
I need a motion to note accept on that.
Do we have a motion?
I need.
Oh.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Bassford?
Reluctantly, yes.
Mr. Capola?
Reluctantly, yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. McElwee?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. Ms. Purdy?
No. Consent agenda.
Consent agenda includes items of business which are not controversial and do not require individual discussion. A motion approving the consent agenda is moved, seconded, and voted upon as one item by the Township Council. If any discussion is requested on a consent agenda item, it is removed from the council consent agenda to the regular agenda. 2813 is a resolution appointing fire police for the Township of Galloway. Oceanville Volunteer Fire Company number 1 has John W. Mooney. I'm not sure which one, but it's John W. Mooney. Dennis Weiss. Germania is George Anglin, Richard Roche Sr., and Louis Hanselman. Pomona is William Brunel. Bayview is Joe Picardi. South Egg Harbor is Kevin Ahern, Thomas Mendoza, and Matthew Patagna. And let's see, 6013 is authorizing method of payment for delinquent taxes. 61 is authorizing cancellation of tax sale. 62 is authorizing return of unused funds. 63-13 is authorizing cancellation of taxes. 6413 is authorizing person-to-person transfer of plenary retail license. 65-13 is authorizing person-to-person transfer of plenary retail license. 66-13 authorizing person-to-person transfer of plenary retail license. 6713 authorizing municipal towing contractor licenses. 6813 authorizing the mayor to execute escrow agreement. 6913 amending resolution to reflect amount. 70-13 consent to proposed water quality management plan. 7113 authorizing the cancellation of tax sale certificate. 7213 authorizing the cancellation of tax sale certificate. 7313 authorizing the cancellation of tax sale certificate. 74-13 authorizing the cancellation of tax sale certificate. 7513 authorizing the cancellation of tax sale certificate. 7613 authorizing the cancellation of tax sale certificate. 7713 authorizing method of payment for delinquent taxes. 7813 authorizing the refund of taxes due to overpayments. 7913 authorizing the refund of escrow. 80-13 authorizing tub gardening services to B&J Recycling. 8113 authorizing an emergency temporary appropriation in the 2013 temporary budget. 8213 authorizing the reduction of a performance guarantee. 8313 authorizing the release of a performance guarantee. 8413 request approval of a 6-month extension with the NJDOT for the Great Creek Road pedestrian path. 8513 appointing special counsel for records management, and 8613 renewing alcoholic beverage license. I feel that 6413, 6513, and 6613 and 8613 should probably be voted on separately because Mr. Fuller has to abstain, and we probably should vote separately on 6713 because Mr. Purdy should abstain.
I'd also like to see 8513 come out.
Okay. Please say after you catch your breath, it's a minor thing, but 8113 on my copy of the resolution, there's a typo. Instead of 110,000, it says 4,110,000.
Oh, it's 4 instead of a capitalized.
Yeah. Just so you're aware.
Okay, very good.
Marge, just a question, we can leave it in there. 80-13?
Yeah, that's tub gardening services. That's actually for removal of all of the debris that has been ground up, and DEP at our compost site wants us to get it off site. So we're paying $1 a cubic yard to get it off site.
Oh, we're paying to get rid of it? Okay. Is DEP going to reimburse it, or FEMA going to reimburse it?
Yeah, this is part of the FEMA process. Yes.
Okay, so it's really not, the truck driving services are not actually doing the truck driving?
No, we've already done that.
Okay. I just want to make sure, Mr. Mitchell was talking about the repairs, I want not repairing a piece of equipment and paying somebody also to do it. Because that's what it looks like. Okay.
And the bid went out to a Galloway firm. Thank you, Arch.
No, I followed the law.
Now, we want to thank the Galloway firm for having the lowest responsible bid.
Right.
And I want to pull out 8413. Discuss that. Is there anything else anybody wants to pull out?
Just pull 2 out, the other ones pull out because some of the people have to abstain.
Right. So, TC, PC, would you like to give us a breakdown now? And you just go by numbers, you know.
Okay, we're going to vote on 28, 60, 61, 62, 63, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 81. We'll take on the title 82, 80, and 83 on the consent agenda.
And 86 will be also off.
Right, because it's a liquor license.
Motion to move.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Basford.
Yes.
Mr. Capola.
Yes.
Mr. Foreman.
Yes.
Mr. McAvoy.
Yes.
Mr. Terrell.
Yes.
Mrs. Ullman. Yes. Mr. Purdy.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll do 64, 65, 66, and 86.
The liquor ones.
That's all liquor
Do
related.
I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Basford?
Yes.
Mr. Culva?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay, very good. Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. McAvoy?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. Mr. Purdy?
Yes.
Okay, now the next one we'll take is 67, and Mr. Purdy needs to abstain on that.
Motion to move.
Second. Okay, Mr. Basford?
Yes.
Mr. Cola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. McAvoy?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. And Mr. Purdy?
Same.
Okay, now if you wanted to do 84,
Yeah, Art, can you give us a rundown on this? Is this the same project we just got the grant for?
No, this is a project from last year. There's been multiple delays and in this project. It was held up by engineering purposes. There was a situation with the county and communicating with the county on some things that they needed to work with us on. There was another problem with we needed an easement into a property to get around the corner that was delayed. We're in negotiations with the property owner. That fell apart, so we had to move into the easement. When Mr. Blue left, it kind of got delayed, or did get delayed. So we are changing the scope, and we're not going to take that easement right now. Probably do that in the next process of the project. It's just been numerous issues that have delayed the project. And then with the new engineer taking over, the realization that we've been delayed, and we need to get an extension to make sure we fit this time so we don't lose the money.
Do you feel confident that we're going to get the extension?
I think we'll get this extension. And we've got paperwork today, and we're following through and trying to get it wrapped up.
What's the chances of being able to put the two projects together from the two grants?
I'd love to be able to fit it together. I mean, even a better number if we can fit it together. Sure, but we're going to push for it.
Okay.
If we can do that.
Okay, great. I just want to get it, because it's confusing when people look at, we're asking for an extension for the sidewalk you just got. I just wanted to, make sure that. Okay. Questions or comments?
Motion for 13.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Basford?
Yes.
Mr. Cola?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. McAvoy?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. Mr. Purdy?
Yes.
And then 8513 is appointing special counsel for records management.
March.
This basically would be the appointment of Kim Procopio as special counsel for records management GRC complaints, issues that are being litigated or potential litigation for the festival event.
By having someone in this position, we're not paying two solicitors to do the same job, correct?
No, it's an offset cost.
So a problem will come to you, and you'll decide who has to deal with it, whether it be special counsel, special records counsel, or our own township solicitor. But it won't be both evaluate the same problem and double billing.
That's correct.
Let's just hope that we don't have a lot of expenditure in this department to come forward.
Yeah, I don't think it's neat. We have a solicitor, we have a clerk. The clerk is in charge of the records. If there's a problem, she can go to the solicitor. I think it's just double. And at some point, when the outside counsel makes a decision, the inside counsel is going to take a look at it because they're the solicitor for the town. So I just think it's a redundant position.
What's your feeling on this, Artie?
I understand Mr. Gorman's concern that they will. I look at I look at lawyers much like doctors. If I need a brain surgeon, I might come to a foot doctor. General practitioners, the typical general practitioner that we have in local government, the municipal, it covers a lot. Sometimes gets into areas that they're not experienced on or exposed to as much as other attorneys. What we're looking here is specialization in getting the best, but not putting anything for closer, but getting somebody who specializes and has a lot of experience in this type of law. And law is very specialized today. And this is what we're looking at, this is specialization.
Kim has a wealth of experience in this area from our time.
Well, she was a city solicitor in the city of Atlantic City. Has been exposed to a lot of these issues that have multiple levels.
This went out to bid, Mark. What was this the lowest bid?
It was the lowest general bid. There was one from up in North Jersey that didn't have the experience and background, and there was a different fee structure.
How many people bid on it?
I think 3 more.
I think 4.
More people?
Yeah, I just think it's a luxury we can't afford in our fiscal situation right now.
I think it's a luxury we can't afford not to do.
I mean, we're going to be paying for these services one way or the other. It's just a question of which the brain surgeon or the foot doctor.
Thank you.
The same category, lawyers and doctors. One get paid by the attorney or fixing, the other one get paid if you lose your rent.
I just think we're getting ahead of ourselves. If there's an issue, we could address it, but on a regular basis, I think we're wasting money. I think Kim is very good. Yeah. There's no question about Kim. I want Kim to be with me.
I'm not going to object to this, but I can see from Arch's perspective to have someone available, and that's what it is, have someone available that he may want to use. And I can certainly address with Arch when and discuss when it may be necessary, in my opinion. And ultimately it's just giving him a potential resource is the way I look at it.
Mark, what's the difference?
We haven't
Not put you on the spot, like, what's the difference between rates of the term solicitor and the solicitor?
The general rate is the same. My rate for Oprah stuff, for reviews and stuff, is $100 an hour. Where, I mean, I can look at this and renegotiate the same type of stuff.
Just for the record, what is the bid now?
$135.
Think you could negotiate that?
With a cap on it, right? 15,000. Wasn't there a cap on it?
I put in the resolution not to be more than 50.
Hey, all it is, like you said, is giving Arch an option. If he thinks he needs it, he uses it. If he doesn't, he doesn't use it.
I think I agree. Do we, how many motions down on the floor?
Motion to move 8413.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mr. Bastard?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
No.
Mr. McElwee?
No.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. Mr. Pritchett?
Yes.
Resolution passes 5-2.
Very report.
The only thing I really need to update on is we met with the auditor on Monday for the budget process and the timetables. What we have done is provided him with our final numbers. He's reviewing them to make sure that he sees that they reconcile with our number. His numbers will cover our number. What we're looking to do is introduce the budget on March 9th. One of the things that's holding us up is we're waiting for the state revenues from the governor. He'll announce using the third week in February. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves and introduce and, recommend give us more money.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
But I don't want to get to a situation where, there's two left we want to be right on. We want to make the kind of a seamless process this year. The only question I have at council is the budget committee to get with me in the next couple of weeks and go through some of the finite details of it. I will say that looking at our numbers, we're right on where we predicted we wanted to be. And we should have a balanced budget this year.
That is great news. Great news. So we're good?
That's it.
Councilman Norman.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
That's it. Dr. Tundell.
Nothing technically. Spoken well.
Councilman McElwee.
Yeah, I'd like to extend my apologies for the delay in the prayer resolution not being on the agenda. As the Deputy Mayor said, there were some problems with availability, and we're going to work on that this week and get that squared away. I want to thank TC for quickly addressing my request about putting the bills on the website. It was there this week, well ahead of time, and I think Mr. Mitchell appreciates it if nobody else. And I appreciate that quick response. Now if we could just get the minutes and the RFPs on there, I'd be a happy camper. So
It's coming.
thank you. I want to quickly address this article that was in the press about our police department, and it's about a half-page article. It's got nice charts and graphs on it. But nowhere in the article did they interview our mayor or anybody on council or our township manager. And I just want to say that nobody has more respect for Chief Moran and his men than the people sitting up here. We know the sacrifices they've made this year. They are champions at doing more with less. And I just think that needed to be said if you did get a chance to read this article. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I was very proud of our Go Green Galloway group. I was able to attend an award ceremony for the Sustainable New Jersey Awards up at the Forest Gate Country Club in North Jersey. I'm just very proud of all the initiatives and things that the Go Green Galloway does for us because they won an award. I'm very proud of them.
Great. Thank you for going up there. Deputy Mayor.
Welcome tonight, Mr. Mayor. Right off to you, sir.
Thank you. Councilman McElhenney, I just want to say that I have had dialogue with the press regarding some of the police matters, and I know that they are getting ready to do a story on some different things with public safety in Galloway Council. And I think that it's great for Galloway to see the spotlight of all the great things that our police department does, and I think that should highlight the article that you're talking about. So I look forward to that getting published, and I think you'll be very happy when you see that that comes out. Thank you. Again, one of the great things about sitting up here is what you've seen tonight was government working at its best. And I think we come together and we're going to resolve some issues that we have. This council always comes together for the right reasons and gets stuff done. And it's great to see that even though politics is involved in everything, we always come out to usually, for the most part, agree on certain things and we work things out. And at the end of the day, we're all together. I do want to welcome the Boy Scouts to Galloway Township. Recently, the Boy Scouts had lost their little store that they had with their headquarters that was in the Shore Mall, and they had moved over into Galloway Township, over there by the on the Seaview property, by the spa, the day spa. It's great to see. With I think they were saying there's close to 3,000 scouts in Atlantic County, and this is the place where they're going to come to buy their pins and supplies and stuff like that. And it's great to see people travel to Galloway Township as a destination for such a great cause for the Boy Scouts. And I think through the years, the Eagle Scouts that we've done and seen Boy Scouts come, they always come to the Veterans Day affairs and lead by example as council does. I'm happy to see that this town is looking forward, and I'm glad they picked Galloway Township for their home. And that's all I have. I'm going to invite it up to the public. We'll open session. Come up to the mic. Please give your names and your address.
Anna Jessica, Galloway Council. I know there was some concerns about the prayer, the way it was worded, what have you. When are we actually going to move forward with this?
We're looking forward to the next meeting. I'm going yes, Mrs. Gray. We'll leave it that way.
Are we looking at next meeting or 10 years from now?
We're looking for the next meeting, Mrs. J.
All right, that's what it said. One question about another solicitor. Do we have to give him any type of a retainer of any kind?
No.
Okay. I knew that.
There's another one solicitor that's done with council.
All right, so that's the council. Now, what if we never use this man? Do we pay him anything?
A woman.
A woman. What if we never use her? Do we have to pay her?
No.
Okay. So this is just an extra thing. If we use it, we pay, or if we don't use it, we don't.
Correct.
Okay, very good. An article in the paper about stopping with the property taxes. This is the last year, I think, that we are going to receive anything from Stockton.
We've been done, so I'm just I want to interrupt you.
All right, is it?
We did reach out to Dr. Sedkamp last week. I did talk to him about setting up a meeting. He has called the township manager. His office has.
I have emails from his finance people that I see this afternoon. We're setting a meeting probably the first week in March. And they've been open in some of the preliminary discussions that they're going to continue to work with us on.
The official work in progress was just that.
We are hopefully going to get something.
Yes. Well, something more.
Something more?
No.
Okay.
It's a meeting, Mrs. J, that hasn't taken place at this time, so it's a little premature to talk about it. Art's thinking positive because he's looking at the budget. But, Mrs. J, Dr. Sedkamp has been very open arms with it. It was a very good conversation that I had with him. And that was only Thursday, I believe. And right away, he set up the meeting in his office with the township manager. And we look forward to having that meeting as soon as possible.
Well, he's a very nice man. And his wife, she's a lovely person. I know her. She's very nice. But Stockton does own a lot of properties. They own 7 sassy houses that they're only paying $6,800, $6,200 on. I'd like to own 7 properties and only pay that amount of money. I mean, they have little concessions that they're making money on and aren't paying anything. So, I mean, something's got to give. I'm glad that Art, you're a step ahead and you're seeing what's going on. Thank you, Archie. Thank you.
Anybody else in the public have anything to say, please come up to the mic and state your name and your address.
Ms. J, for the record, if we don't use that special counsel, that means Michael needs to take care of bunions and I don't know that, but...
Oh, all right. I can come to you, Michael.
You're going to go through Arch first.
Lisa Felton, Galloway Township, publisher of GallowayTownshipNews.com. Speaking on multiple issues this evening, one of them is the issue in reference to the auditor. I published the article on my website Sunday night, spoke to a couple council members, including the township manager, in reference to your proposal, or Councilman Gorman, your proposal, in reference to limiting the terms of an auditor. And I think some of the things that were discussed tonight were slight misconceptions, misunderstandings, potentially not reading the law the way that the law should be read. And on top of that, I think you guys completely blew by parliamentary procedures tonight. You had multiple motions on the floor. You had no which way you guys were going. I know you're tabling it, doing a workshop for the next meeting. Obviously, everything, as we know now, is going to be done in past closed doors, so that we can craft an ordinance to get ready to go for the next meeting. What I'm going to state tonight is actually what the law is in reference to if you're actually going to give terms on any type of professional appointment, including the auditor. The auditor is actually, I do have the 2008 report. I went online today after I spoke with you and took a look at it. It is a recommendation. It was a recommendation that was never passed. It was a recommendation to send it up to the state to mandate each of the municipalities to be able to limit the terms specifically on the auditor. The actual report is specifically selection and use of auditing firms by New Jersey governmental units. So it didn't have anything to do with any other professional other than auditing. The terms on the back, the way that it reads is all government units in New Jersey that are required to have an annual audit performed should procure their auditor using a competitive selection process at a minimum of every 5 years. So I know the word is 10 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever was put out. If you're looking to follow any type of recommendation, even if it's a recommendation that the state didn't even approve, it's a minimum of 5 years. In reference to the 10 years, it says in no event should a government unit use the same audit firm for more than 10 consecutive years. We recommend the legislator consider enacting legislation that would impose this 10-year limit. none of it was done. On top of that, you not only had a recommendation that went absolutely nowhere, but you also had your local public contract law, specifically as it pertains to auditors. No local unit shall be required to advertise for bids on any work performed pursuant to NJSA 48-5-4. That is your auditor. Your auditor, every municipality, every audit required under this chapter shall be completed by an accountant or auditor who holds an uncanceled license as a registered municipal accountant. On top of that, the governing body of every local unit shall employ a registered accountant. You can hire today Mr. Costello if you wanted to, as an employee, as a registered accountant. You have one now on your staff as a registered accountant. You can employ anybody you want. To limit the terms, and particularly, I believe, let me recall, 2010, we particularly went into closed session in order to discuss appointments, because we felt it was a discussion that should have been made, especially when you're talking about performance of any type of professional. In my opinion, I feel what you did tonight as far as whether or not you're indicating Mr. Costello did or didn't do what he should have done, should have been handled in closed session. I think Mr. Costello should have been here tonight in order to address your concerns. I don't think he was afforded that opportunity. You can continue to say whether or not he did or didn't address, or you guys did or didn't follow. I sat here for multiple years when we told you, stop the layoffs, stop kicking the can down the road. That was your choice, not your auditor's choice. He told you what to do. I think what you guys are actually doing, I think it's a great idea if you want to limit terms, so that we can have a consistent and constant individual that you can go to, engineer, attorney. But your auditor is also your financial advisor. If you were to invest your money in a financial advisor, the last thing you want to do is switch them every 3 years. That's the person you use to protect your money. I think to limit that, you want to build a trust, you want to build a relationship with your auditor. He's the one that gets the municipality running with their CFO manager. So I think in order to do that, in my opinion, is the same thing you just did tonight in reference to approving another solicitor for Oakland, which is another issue. Everybody knows who I am, everybody knows my profession or what I did or didn't do. As now publisher of GallowayTownshipNews.com, I have had nothing but continued resistance from this township in reference to a work. As a municipal clerk, we are taught open government is back here. You're supposed to look at a document, you're supposed to look and say, okay, should we let this out? Should we not let this out? Should we redact it? Should we not redact it? As a registered municipal clerk, licensed with the state of New Jersey, to continue to have resistance in letting documents out, minutes, they are council minutes. I fought for 3 days to obtain Galloway Township's minutes to put them up on my website. Everybody from council was copied on those emails. 2 of you spoke up. Only 2 of you. In the spirit of open government, only 2. Saw me fight for 3 days to obtain minutes. Ridiculous. They should have been available. They should have gone up. To have a comment made in an email, and everybody can over it, to say because I may potentially put them on my website, may not be a reason why the township would have to accommodate my request, is ridiculous. That to me is not open government. And I hope you finally put them on your website. I hope you finally put everything on your website. I have your budgets on my website, GallowayTownshipNews.com. I have your financial statements. I have your audit on my website. All of this done via Oprah, and it took me 2 years. You guys have sat here for 2 years, and we're not able to do it. I hope you can finally get your act together, because I hope I started the process for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Website.
Money.
It doesn't make me any money at all. I understand that, but you have a website.
We're working on that. I have sat up here for 4 years and said, before you are, I tell you, website, and I agree with Councilman McAwee. I mean, and I did, yes, as soon as we sign them, they're going to be...
General code, the minutes you went up, immediately, a lot of the processes is we understand that our staff has been been burdened for a period of time, and don't have time to get a lot of stuff done. Now realize we're last three groups together, and I think within the next probably 30 to 60 days, we should have it up and running pretty well.
Great. Anybody else from the public? Mr. Tom.
Good to see you again. Tried to make the meetings the last 2 times and got here late. Kind of reminds me of some of my board meetings at church. Let me just say, I want to tell you that there's a group of us pastors that are praying for you, that are coming together and praying. Since we can't come here at the beginning of the meeting, we have been praying on our own. It's because we are still concerned and still care about you as council people and this community, and we appreciate you and want you to know that you're being lifted up in prayer. Let me tell you quickly about a couple things that are happening at our church. Tom Douglas, pastor, Highland Community Church over on 4th Avenue. Every Tuesday night, we have a Celebrate Recovery. That's where I normally am. That's why I've been late the last couple meetings. Celebrate Recovery is a 12-step program for drug and alcohol. That's not just it. It's for people that are hurting, or people with addiction, or there's a group meeting, and then there's small group encouragement groups together. So it's a very powerful meeting. We're bringing a number of folks, probably 25 or 30 people over from the rescue mission, and being a part of this. So it's neat to see them be a part of this. A couple things that are coming up at church. This Friday night, we're having a coffee house ministry, where we're having several Christian singing groups, not bands, but groups that are coming to sing, as well as free coffee and dessert and all in the church basement. So people are welcome to come. It starts, I think, at 6:30 and goes probably till 9:30. The following week, on Friday night, we're going to be showing a very powerful film called October Baby. It's about a young girl that was from a botched abortion and was adopted and then tried to seek out her birth mother. It's a very, very powerful film, and we would encourage the community to come. We're going to be showing it several times. This will be the first time that you could come and see it, and it'll be at 6:30 next Friday night. Next Saturday, not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday, we're having an indoor yard sale. Never heard of it before. That's what some people wanted to do. So, anyway, that's on Saturday, and that'll be from, I think, 10 till 2 on that Saturday. So there's a couple of things that are happening, as well as the regular church services at Highland Community Church. So, if you don't mind, I would like to pray for you. Publicly, I should let everybody know that the Township Council did not in any way invite me to come to pray, and they're not, what I'm going to say now has nothing to do with them. I will be praying in Jesus' name if that's offensive to anybody. I just want you to know up front of that. All right? Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, I thank you for these men and women that give of their time. And I know that it's a challenge for them. I know they have a huge responsibility. And I thank you for the report that Galloway is being recognized for the steps that have been taken. I thank you, God, for the good news that we're heading towards a balanced budget. I thank you, God, for the decisions that are being made, and as Lisa and others join together from the community and hold their feet to the fire, I pray that they would make very wise decisions in the future, because they do have a big responsibility here. So Lord, I pray for them. I pray that you would bless them, encourage them. I pray for their families. I pray that you would keep them strong. I pray for their businesses, that you would bless them. I do want to pray for the people of Galloway. Some of them are hurting, drug and alcohol addictions. We also, many people have lost their jobs. losing their homes. It's a very difficult time. So I pray for our community. I pray, God, for those that serve you here in the police department as well as the fire department and the management here in the township and those that drive the garbage trucks to get the garbage out of the community. We thank you, God, for them. Lord, we thank you for the way that you are working here, and I thank you, God, for your hand that is being seen in our churches where the good news of Jesus Christ is proclaimed on a regular basis. And I pray the people of Galloway would come to church and come and learn and grow and become more and more what you want them to be. Thank you, Lord, for this privilege of sharing with these folks, and I pray that you would bless and encourage them. Thank you for their service, and I pray that their families would be drawn close to you and to one another. We'll give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Tom, for everything your community does and your church does for everybody in the surrounding area also.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Pastor Al Syverson from Beacon Church. I was on the corner of 6th and Ridgewood. I just wanted to mention a few things our church is doing. Ever since Hurricane Sandy came along, we've been involved with work in Brigantine. We've helped the Brigantine Bible Church. They're still meeting in the rec hall there. They're getting close to being moved into their building again, but they had major devastation. So we had somebody from our church moved out to Galloway from Brigantine, and we're aware of the need there. So we've been working ever since Sandy came. So that was something that we've been involved with, and we've helped the pastor over there with his home. His home was totally devastated as well as probably 10 other homes over there we've worked on. We continue to, instead of just doing, in addition to just doing cleanup, we also do renovation too. We've been doing the work, the actual construction. So that's one thing we're doing. Thursday night we've got 25 couples from our church who are going to this Keeler restaurant in Smithville for a vow renewal. And as you know, our nation today, marriages are in trouble, and we're just encouraged that there were 25 couples from our church who wanted to do this. So we're looking forward to having dinner together Thursday night. Pastor Pete Nelson, he's been with us 20 years. Nowadays, there's not too many ministers that stick around one church for that long. But he's been with us 20 years as of December, but with Christmas and all, we couldn't do anything. So March 3rd, we are doing a little celebration in both services for honoring him for 20 years of service as our shepherd at the church. That's Sunday, March 3rd. And then the food bank, our Hope Chest, invite any of you to come over Tuesday morning. We open at 10 o'clock. The people are lined up at 9 o'clock in the morning to come and get bags of food. We continue to give about 100 bags away each week. They come also on Wednesday night between 3 and 5 for that. But there continues to be a major need with food and clothing for people who live in Galloway. And if you're free some Tuesday morning, come over. This winter we've been letting them come into our church building. We've been serving them a cup of coffee and a little snack while they wait until the thing opens through 10. Just want to mention those things, and I appreciate the work you folks do, and we continue to pray for you. My church prays for you on Wednesday night through Wednesday night prayer meeting. So I'm going to say thanks.
Pastor Al, thank you very much. It's like a bittersweet thing. You know, it's nice to see that the community gets together at your church to feed the needy in the area, and it's sad to see that the lines are so long, that people are that bad out there. And I'm just so happy that we have organizations through the town that come together to help the community. Thank you. Anybody else from the public want to come forward and give your name and your address? Hearing none? A motion to go to closed session?
Motion.
Second.